In the early stages of a relationship, conversations flow effortlessly. Couples can talk for hours about everything and nothing. There's an excitement in getting to know each other, in sharing stories, dreams, and even trivial details about the day. But as the years go by, many couples find themselves talking less and less. Conversations become brief, centered around logistics rather than feelings. Why does this happen? Does love fade? Do people change? The answer is much more practical than you might think. Let's dive into the real reasons why couples talk less over time, and what can be done about it. 1. The novelty wears off. In the beginning of a relationship, everything is new. You're discovering each other's pasts, perspectives, and quirks. Every conversation feels like an adventure. But after years together, much of what was once exciting has already been discussed. You already know their childhood memories, their thoughts on politics, their favorite foods, and their biggest pet peeves. The same questions that once sparked deep conversations now feel redundant. What can you do? Focus on evolving conversations rather than repeating old ones. Ask about new experiences rather than past ones. Take up new activities together that give you fresh topics to discuss. 2. Life gets in the way. When couples first get together, they often have more free time to talk. As life progresses, responsibilities pile up: careers, kids, household chores, financial stress, and health concerns. The time and energy once spent on long conversations are now divided among countless obligations. Instead of discussing dreams and ideas, many couples' conversations become centered around who's picking up groceries, paying the bills, or taking the kids to school. What can you do? Set aside dedicated time for real conversations, not just logistics. Use daily check-ins, 5 to 10 minutes of uninterrupted talking about how you're feeling. Prioritize date nights or quiet moments together without distractions. 3. Comfort leads to silence. At the start of a relationship, silence can feel awkward. You want to impress your partner, fill every gap in conversation, and make sure there's never a dull moment. But as a couple grows more comfortable, silence no longer feels threatening, it becomes normal. Some couples mistake this silence for disinterest when, in reality, it's just a sign that they feel at ease with each other. While silence itself isn't a problem, too much of it can create emotional distance. What can you do? Recognize the difference between comfortable silence and emotional disconnect. Make an effort to engage in deeper conversations even if you don't need to. Be curious, ask questions about your partner's evolving thoughts and feelings. 4. The assumption that they already know. Over time, couples start assuming they know everything about each other. You think you know how they feel, what they'll say, and what they want. Because of this, many couples stop sharing their thoughts and emotions, assuming their partner just knows. But people change. Their feelings shift, their opinions evolve, and their perspectives deepen. Assuming you already know everything can lead to missed opportunities for real connection. What can you do? Never assume. Ask. Share your thoughts even if you think your partner already knows them. Be open to the idea that your partner is always growing and changing. 5. The digital distraction factor. Technology has made communication easier but has also made meaningful conversations harder. Many couples spend more time on their phones than talking to each other. Scrolling through social media, watching TV, or texting instead of engaging in face-to-face conversations leads to disconnection. Sometimes, couples assume they're spending time together when they're actually just in the same room, staring at different screens. What can you do? Set phone-free times during meals or before bed. Engage in screen-free activities together, like walks or cooking. Make an effort to look at each other while talking instead of at your screens. 6. The emotional load becomes unbalanced. In many relationships, one partner takes on more of the emotional burden, listening, problem-solving, and offering emotional support, while the other disengages. Over time, the partner carrying the emotional load may grow exhausted, while the other becomes detached. If one person is always initiating conversations and the other is only responding with short answers, the desire to talk naturally decreases. What can you do? Make sure both partners are equally invested in conversations. Avoid giving one-word answers, engage fully. If you're the quieter partner, take initiative in starting meaningful discussions. 7. Conflict avoidance. Some couples talk less because they want to avoid arguments. If conversations often lead to disagreements, one or both partners may choose silence over conflict. While this may keep the peace temporarily, it creates a long-term disconnect. What can you do? Address underlying conflicts instead of avoiding them. Learn healthy ways to disagree without shutting down communication. Create a safe space where both partners feel heard without judgment. 8. Physical and emotional exhaustion. After a long day of work, parenting, or managing responsibilities, many people simply don't have the energy for deep conversations. They may retreat into silence, not because they don't want to talk, but because they're too drained. Over time, this exhaustion can become the norm, creating a cycle of minimal conversation. What can you do? Recognize when exhaustion is affecting your communication. Have important conversations when both partners have the energy for them. Support each other in finding ways to reduce stress and burnout. 9. Lack of shared interests. In the early stages of a relationship, everything feels exciting because you're discovering new things together. But as time passes, couples often fall into routines, and if they don't actively cultivate shared interests, they may have less to talk about. When conversations become stale, some couples assume they've grown apart, when in reality, they just need new experiences to bond over. What can you do? Try new hobbies or activities together. Travel to new places, even if it's just a different restaurant or park. Engage in discussions about books, movies, or topics that interest you both. 10. Taking each other for granted. In long-term relationships, it's easy to assume that your partner will always be there. This comfort can sometimes lead to complacency, where couples stop putting effort into meaningful conversations. When couples no longer make an effort to talk the way they did in the beginning, the connection can slowly weaken over time. What can you do? Appreciate and acknowledge each other daily. Treat conversations with your partner as valuable, not just routine. Keep the same curiosity and interest you had at the beginning of your relationship. Couples don't stop talking because they stop loving each other. They stop talking because life gets busy, routines take over, and they assume there's nothing new to say. But meaningful conversations don't happen by accident, they require effort and intention. If you feel like you and your partner talk less than you used to, don't panic. It's a natural part of long-term relationships. The key is to recognize the shift and take small steps to keep communication strong. Ask questions, share thoughts, and stay curious about each other. Love isn't just about staying together. It's about continuing to understand and connect, even as the years go by.